Well, as more information comes out about Abrego Garcia, Democrats are starting to realize that supporting an MS-13 gang member, it's not a winning message.
We're not vouching for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We are vouching for his constitutional rights.
It's not about the individual, and frankly, it's not about the issue. This is about due process. It's about the Constitution.
I think our advocacy here has a little bit less to do with him individually and more the process.
Well, they're not the only ones distancing themselves from Abrego Garcia. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is reportedly putting an end to any more trips to El Salvador by members of Congress. But when pressed on the issues, he couldn't quite give a straight answer.
Do you support your members going to El Salvador, particularly in terms of the situation involving Kilmar Abrego Garcia? Just yesterday.
Support what members? The members that went? I've had nothing.
Any
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. The only statement that was made to members who went to El Salvador was welcome back.
And it's not just gangbangers. Some Democrats now want to secure the border. Democrat Congressman Don Davis is calling for increased security after taking a tour of an ICE facility in Georgia.
For far too long, Congress has kicked the can down the road on meaningful action on immigration reform. And there's still significant work to be done to secure our border. People back home want Congress to act. Clearly, this isn't just an issue for border communities. It affects all of us.
And Don Davis is a Democrat elected in a district that voted for Donald Trump. Guy, let me start with you. Do you see some Democrats, whether it was that half answer from Hakeem Jeffries or what you just heard there, do you think they're moving to the center when it comes to the border because they realize it's an issue that Trump still is winning on?
Well, they're moving away from their hero, Mr. Garcia. And the issue that they have to face, and this is a choice that they made, I understand the due process argument, although they seem much more interested in the due process of removals than any due process when everyone was coming in by the millions, including dangerous people who've killed Americans. So that's frustrating, to say the least. But they decided to rally around his case and his cause. There are maybe one or two other examples of people that would be perhaps better politically for them to do that, but they made the choice to call this a Maryland father, a Maryland man, and the more we learn about him, the worse it looks for him and therefore them. And they don't get off the hook for saying, oh, well, those specifics don't matter. Actually, they really do, because the specifics increasingly prove why he shouldn't have ever been here in the first place.
Right. And Alicia, they're putting so much political capital into someone with this checkered past, but what about the angel moms that lost children?
Right.
What about those who lost family members because of illegal immigrants not supposed to be here?
No, they had so many opportunities to pick literally anybody else. And now they're saying it's not about Abrego Garcia, when it very much was about him, when they kept referring to him as a Maryland father. And as you mentioned, the angel moms, they weren't talking about moms who had lost their children to immigrants who had committed crimes against them. They made it about him until it became inconvenient to be about him. And now it's back to the issue at hand, which makes it difficult for people to believe.
And by the way, just very quickly, to that exact point, Senator Van Hollen went all the way to El Salvador to stand in solidarity with Garcia, never met with the mother of Rachel Morin, his own U.S. citizen constituent who was murdered by an illegal immigrant in his state.
So he has egg on his face, and now they're looking at numbers. Joe, Trump basically sealed the border. I mean, it's like sealed tight right now. This is a losing issue for Democrats, or not really?
Sealed as a 99% drop.
I know.
In border crossings, without 1 inch of the wall being built, by the way. Just as Trump said, we just need a new president. All that said, I just can't get over the fact that Democrats continue to throw a pie in their face by making Kilmar Abrego Garcia their mascot. Like that was the decision there. I mean, this is a guy allegedly MS-13, human trafficker, like we just showed in that video, and a wife beater. And if you asked anybody on the street, forget 80-20 issue, this is a 99-1 issue, as in 99% of voters would say, get him out of here, and 1% would say, keep him here because they're drunk. The bottom line is that Democrats are 4 years late and 12 million illegals short on this one. And by the way, we talked about Rachel Morin. How about any Democrat one of them going to Israel and saying, demanding Hamas release Eden Alexander, an American hostage still held since October 7, 2023. They'll go to El Salvador, but they won't do that for an American.
And now they're making it about a due process issue.
Due process. You enter the country illegally, guess what? Due process goes bye-bye.
Yeah.
That's I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I said.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.